We have been waiting 3 years for housing prices to fall. Then the coronavirus slowed us down, and now inflation. I am approaching 40, and I feel that my husband and I played it all wrong, complains Veronica, who has been postponing the decision to get pregnant for years. The owner of the apartment she and her husband's rent have raised the rent for the second time in a year. As a result, they cannot afford a loan or a child today. They are also less and less profitable to live on rent. If someone had told me a few years ago that in 2022 the prices of flats would be even higher than in 2020, I would have laughed in their face, says Veronica, who was looking for an apartment with her husband a few years ago. I was afraid of getting pregnant and giving birth in a pandemic. Now I know that we unnecessarily delayed this decision. Our savings are melting away, and with them, my dream of being a mom talks about living with the price of a 38-year-old. I want to cry when I pass billboards with low fertility on my way to work. Why do women give birth to so few children? Because they can't afford it, he says bitterly. Veronica celebrated her 38th birthday in May. In June, the apartment owner she and her husband are renting raised the rent again. This is the second increase since January. Reason? He said his mortgage payment went up 100%. Although he and his wife have 2 apartments, they cannot contribute to the business, explains the owner, Veronica. On the one hand, I understand him. But, simultaneously, I want to cry because, unlike them, my interlocutor adds bitterly that we can only dream of a loan now. My life is waiting. Veronica has a good job. She managed to get a job in an international company before the outbreak of the pandemic in 2019. The salary and a higher position tempted her. 2020 was supposed to be theirs. After 5 years of searching, they would finally buy a flat. COVID-19 thwarted their plans. I was afraid of getting pregnant and giving birth in a pandemic. All the time, I had lonely childbirth and caring for a newborn in my head. In addition, housing prices began to increase drastically. I remember seeing a lovely apartment in 2019. I complained to my husband that I would prefer a terrace instead of a balcony. I was the one who persuaded him to wait until 2020. He recalls the situation in the primary market years ago. Her husband, in turn, insisted that they invest in an apartment and then think about the child. I was 35 at the time and had a good job. I wasn't into diapers. Now I know that we did not need to delay this decision. Our savings are melting, and with them, my dream of being a mother, laments Veronica. Housing prices have gone up over the past 3 years. If someone had told me a few years ago that in 2022 housing prices would be even higher than in 2020, I would have laughed in their face. Veronica sums up the housing bubble. Of course, it would be laughter through tears because our financial situation means we can't afford our own place. We wanted a perfect, lovely, big apartment, and ultimately, we had nothing. We shot a suicide. The 38-year-old feels sorry for herself. We have been waiting 3 years for housing prices to fall. Then the coronavirus slowed us down, and now inflation. My entire adult life has been waiting for the right moment. I am approaching 40, and my husband and I played it all wrong. My interlocutor assesses her decisions. Instead of a mortgage, a return to the old garbage? The financial situation of the couple is not dramatic. Still, due to the high prices of apartments in the capital, they cannot afford a loan for now. Therefore, their own contribution is a massive challenge for them. We used to put it off every month. We haven't postponed anything since January. The rent has increased by 20%, and we also have higher utilities. My husband lost his job after the pandemic. He recently joined a new company. He earns less than a year ago. Not even an employment contract. We've been married for 8 years. 2022 is by far the worst period in our relationship, my interlocutor confides. The rising cost of living in the capital makes the couple consider moving out. However, Veronica's husband wants them to move to his family home in the province. Instead of a mortgage, a return to the old garbage? For me, it's a step backward, assessing the idea of her husband, Veronica. It would save us some money. We wouldn't charge them to pay off a foreign apartment we rent. The thought of living under the same roof with my in-laws, away from the capital I love, makes my heart heavy, confides the 38-year-old. A twinge in the heart also causes the topic of pregnancy. I want to cry when I pass billboards with low fertility on my way to work. Why do women give birth to so few children? Because they can't afford it, says Veronica firmly. Just listen to the news on the radio, and it's all gone. For months, the #1 topic has been high prices. Everything we earn goes to fees. Even 2 weeks of vacation would significantly strain our home budget. We cannot afford it. We live from 1 to 1. Somehow, it motivates me so badly to work, let alone start a family. Veronica has 4 siblings. She is the youngest. Her brothers and sisters have already had offspring. Her niece, 15 years her junior, has just announced that she is pregnant. Sister asked Veronica many times about enlarging the family. She started this topic on Easter too. And not because she's nosy. She noticed my eyes watered at the news of her daughter's pregnancy, says the 38-year-old. Last year, she advised us not to delay this decision indefinitely. My niece lives with her husband in a studio apartment. They do not live in luxury, but they are happy. If I hadn't waited my whole life for the perfect moment, I wouldn't have to postpone motherhood again. My interlocutor asks at the end.